Also from Sustainable Food Center, Andrew Smiley is the Farm Direct Projects Director. He has just done some extraordinary work with SFC. Part of what his role is, it includes the management of several public policy, farm marketing, and food systems education initiatives, including Sprouting Healthy Kids SFC's Farm to School project, which is a huge focus at a national level. Andrew Smiley, welcome.
Thanks. So I just mentioned that I am going to talk a little bit more about what all Sustainable Food Center does, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. I really just want folks to get a view of how Sustainable Food Center approaches food. And so for that reason, I'll mention some of our other program areas. I also want to kind of provide a little bit of background, a little lead-in to how we develop the Farm to School programming. So you can see our mission statement is our mission is to cultivate a healthy community by strengthening our local food system and improving access to nutritious food. And it's that word food system that I really want to underscore there. When we talk about food, we're not talking about that end product that's just the thing that we consume. We're talking about the whole system of production and marketing and distribution and preparation and consumption. So when we think about opportunities to improve our health through food, let's think about opportunities to improve the economic and the cultural and the environmental health of our community through food systems. So that's Sustainable Food Center's view of food and the opportunities we have around health, not just our own physical health, but our community health. Our program areas are aligned according to our view of food as a system. We kind of simplify that view in terms of growing and sharing and preparing food, our production, marketing and distribution, preparation and consumption. And our three main program areas follow that grow, share, prepare model of the food system. And it includes growing local through the community and youth gardening program, our Farm Direct program, and the Happy Kitchen nutrition education. Just mentioned quite a bit. And the school garden leadership training, by the way, is, it's fantastic. And I was amazed that you were able to squeeze 4.5 hours into just a few minutes. That was pretty impressive. So the support that we offer for school gardens, we offer similar support for community gardens through a community garden leadership training, plus sharing resources like seeds and compost to encourage more folks to grow more food. Through our Farm Direct program, we run several farmers markets in the area. We also work with farmers to sell through work sites, through a farm to work program, where individuals at work sites can order and pay for food from a local farmer that's distributed to their workplace. We also work with universities and hospitals, helping them purchase from local farmers. We basically serve as a broker for local farmers through our custom online ordering system. And then finally, our Happy Kitchen program that is a peer-facilitated nutrition education and cooking class, a 6-week cooking class. And it's important to mention peer-facilitated because our staff isn't teaching the classes. Our staff is training facilitators in how to teach their peers, because we know that when information comes from somebody that looks like you, that sounds like you, somebody that's got the same cultural context as you, it's much more relevant. One of the things I like about the 6-week cooking class, too, by the way, is that we teach healthy recipes, we teach healthy cooking skills, but then at the end of the class, we give everybody the ingredients that they need to go home and replicate that recipe. So there's really no reason to not practice what they've learned in each class. And they're a lot of fun, too. I make the mistake sometimes of calling it nutrition education, but it's really, that Joy gets mad at me, our project director gets mad at me when I call it that, because it's much more fun than nutrition education. It's a cooking class. It's good stuff. So that was a quick rundown of our three main program areas. And again, it's the growing, the sharing, and the preparing of healthy food. Several years ago, we, Sustainable Food Center, realized that we're working quite a bit with adults in our community we're really helping to address some of these food access issues. But what about the kids? This was at a point when we were discussing childhood obesity as a problem, and the very next month we were discussing childhood obesity as an epidemic, and we realized, hey, we've got some programmatic resources, we've got some organizational experience that we really need to be applying to this issue, to this epidemic, and that's how we devised or developed the Sprouting Healthy Kids Farm to School and Food Systems Education program that includes using our Farm Direct background or some of our Farm Direct programming to help incorporate locally grown foods into school cafeterias, and then also through in-class and after-school programs, teaching kids about good nutrition and really engaging young people in hands-on growing of food. Just mentioned that a great way to get kids to try something new is to work with them to grow it themselves. So I'll mention briefly the kind of the theory, the overriding theory behind Sprouting Healthy Kids. I'll talk briefly about the history, and then I'll talk about I'll kind of talk about some of the opportunities that folks may want to take advantage of with farm to school, whether you're in AISD or if you're in other districts. Quick question though, so I'll tell you all this. I was given a presentation the other day to a group of farmers, and I mentioned the farm to school program. I told them through farm to school, I get to work with farmers quite a bit. I also get to work with teachers quite a bit. And I said, and I told the farmers that the only folks that work harder than you guys are teachers. And so are there some teachers in the room? All right, cool. The farmers got a little mad at me, by the way. So if I need some defense, I'm coming to y'all. But so it is it's a great combination of learning environment and and real economic development to be able to open up markets for farmers, open up markets, especially sustainable markets like a school district. The overall theory behind Sprouting Healthy Kids, though, is that if young people have access to healthy food, and if young people have knowledge about their food system, and if they have a relationship with that food, then they're much more likely to make the right food choice. So if they have access to healthy food through the school cafeteria, and if they have knowledge about food systems through their classroom lessons, math and science and language arts and social studies that introduce concepts of healthy food, and if they have this relationship with food by planting it and tending the plant and harvesting and preparing food and then consuming it, then they are much more likely to make good food choices. And so that is the theory behind Sprouting Healthy Kids. Excuse me. Through the 4 years of programming, we've evaluated this project pretty intensely and have found that kids who are involved in multiple components of Sprouting Healthy Kids actually do increase their fruit and vegetable consumption. The project got started, and this hopefully will be useful information for folks looking to bring farm to school to their own districts. The program got started when Sustainable Food Center, when we approached our community partners or potential partners, and that was the key very, very first step, is we talked with folks through our School Health Advisory Council. We talked with folks at District Food Service. We talked with a few PTA leaders. We talked with a couple of principals, some other folks in the school community, and of course we met with several farmers to determine capacity, production capacity on the farmer side, interest on the district side, and ability. We found extremely positive support from our district SHAC, from our district food service, even from our district board of trustees. So that was very positive. We were encouraged by that. That was early on, before farm to school was really as common a concept, I think, as it is now. So finding that support at this point may even be a bit simpler. So following that, getting the support, getting the buy-in of all the various players, Sustainable Food Center identified, the most cost-effective and most abundantly available foods that can be included on a school menu, and then compared with, what was being grown locally and seasonally, compared that with our standard district menu. And, we found a lot of overlap, like, oh, I see you're serving steamed broccoli. During the cooler months when broccoli's in season, we can plug that in, very easy. We worked to figure out the distribution mechanisms, which proved a little bit more challenging, especially as the program expanded. And I can certainly talk a little more about that when we do the Q&A later on. But the program started with 2 schools, expanded to 2 additional schools, and then a total of 6 schools in the 3rd year of the pilot phase. And then we expanded last year to working with about 15 schools in AISD. This year the program's expanded even further to include, well, not only the KIPP Austin Charter School District, but also almost 50 schools in AISD. And the goal is to, within 3 more years, be working with 100% of the schools in AISD, working with them to access the healthy local food and incorporate that into their standard menus. I'm going to just talk about very briefly a couple of the other 2 components, the after school and the in-class, what we kind of lump together as food systems education. And then we'll talk about what else goes on in the cafeteria besides just local food on the menu. So it's one thing to have locally grown food, but we also know that it needs to be locally known. That's that relationship piece. Kids need to know that food in the lunchroom is locally grown. They need to know that so that they can identify it, so they can identify with it, and so that they can choose it when they go through the line. So in addition to just helping to facilitate the local food purchasing, we're also providing some outreach and promotional materials that are used in the cafeterias to identify that local food. So some big, I should have brought some with me, some big farmer profile posters that go up in the cafeteria, some little table tents that go along the line, and then little shelf tags that go along the line that identify each individual dish as locally grown food. We also work with the schools to bring farmers into the lunchroom so that the farmers can interact directly with the students. And again, that's that relationship piece. That is student meeting, putting a face with their food, meeting the person who's feeding them. And that connection we found is sometimes pretty profound when kids are interacting directly with the farmer, and the farmer can say, pickles come from a cucumber, and the kids, they don't know this stuff. We also do work with the school cafeteria managers and the area supervisors to do veggie sampling. It's always fun if you get some white scallop squash and slice it up into little samples and put it in a cup with some Chipotle ranch dressing, and no kid is going to choose to eat white scallop squash. I mean, that's just, that's just not right. But if it's locally grown and it's got a little tag on it that says, local food from local farmers, and there's a farmer in the cafeteria standing right behind that sample tray, and the farmer is saying, hey, I grew this food for you. Wouldn't you like to try it? The kid's like, wow, this must be really special. And they will try it because, again, there's that connection. So let me just, I know I probably need to wrap it up here, and there'll be plenty of time at the Q&A afterwards. We can talk about, more specifics. There is a role for everybody in Farm to School. Of course, I know there are a couple of food service folks in the audience. Yeah, all right. Huge role for food service folks. Yeah, we'll definitely talk after this. There's also a role for PTA, for parents, for catch teams, in helping to do some of those promotional activities and helping to use the school garden, whether it's classroom education or after-school programming. There's a role for parents in helping to get the word out to other parents through their networks that our school is participating and our school wants this, and we want to promote it through the parent networks. couple of, well, one exciting development that I also need to mention is that the Texas Department of Agriculture a couple of years ago had convened the Farm to School Task Force. Farm to School Task Force published a report prior to the most recent legislative session that recommended the hiring of a farm to school coordinator for the state, somebody that could help work with the individual districts and with local regions to implement local farm to local school programs, farm to school programs. That would have required increasing the state budget to accommodate this new position at Department of Ag, and I think we all know that there was going to be no expanding of budgets this year at the Ledge. So it looked like it wasn't going to happen, but fortunately Texas Department of Ag, through their nutrition program, very creative, did find a way to create that position, the farm to school coordinator. They did recently fill that position. And so we'll be looking forward to working with the Department of Ag and that farm to school coordinator to help expand farm to school even more broadly. So wanted to throw that out as a potential resource. The person who was brought into that position, I know she's going to be great. Unfortunately, I can't actually say who it is yet. But hopefully in just a couple of weeks or so, I'll be able to post her telephone number on our homepage. So yeah, I am looking forward to talking with folks afterwards. Would love to talk with folks about whether there's interest in starting a farm to school within within your own district, or whether there's interest as from the parent perspective in supporting existing farm to school efforts, or if there's stronger interest in some of the food systems education pieces, the in-class or the after-school. Just mentioned a few of the resources we have there. This is unfortunately not a complete list because some of the other resources around Sprouting Healthy Kids, farm to school, and food systems education aren't listed, but there are the Sprouting Healthy Kids in-class lessons and after-school activity guide on our website, and they're free for download. So we wanted to make sure those were accessible. So thanks for your time, and I'm looking forward to talking with folks afterwards.
Thank you, Andrew. Again, I think just seeing how the kids, really are benefiting from this grow, prepare, share? Grow, share, prepare. I love that. That's so great. And thank you for all your work. I know you've been working diligently with TDA for quite some time.